Is this working? Okay, that says excellent connection. Double check that I have put the correct settings. Yes. Yes, hard rank, okay. Okay, so it should be working, hopefully. I hope it is. Live chat, I think that's what I need to have it on. Although I will be switching and changing between that and my notes here that I've got for doing the building. Close that. Hopefully that's correct. That all seems happy. What I need to do is that link. Copy that. This is quite awkward to get set up, isn't it? LinkedIn. Okay, and then what I need. Link. Okay, let's post that. And do the same just over on Twitter quickly. We have put the post on okay, that should cover it. Good. Right, hopefully this is all working. I don't know. We'll soon find out if it is or it isn't. But the goals for today. The goals for today are to reuse the lab from the OSPF video to wire up 2 servers and a link to the internet so that we can demonstrate in a future video using Wireshark for packet capturing. So what I want to be able to do is have a couple of test servers for things like Samba. I want the test server to be able to run a radius server at some point. So I want to be able to do speed tests between them. So I need to build a couple of nodes that we can use to run all of those things. So I think what we'll do first is that I will wire this up so that it can have internet access and put these other interfaces onto a switch so that we can plug some devices in and we can simulate traffic going across the network to another area, either internally or externally, and then that way we'll have some kind of zone. So I think what we'll do is we'll use the DHCP address of this range and this range to simulate an internal LAN. So we'll get on with those bits first, and then we'll download some Ubuntu images, and we will jump onto the EVNG website, and we'll figure out how we can build another couple of VMs that we can use in the lab environment for testing. So that's what we will do. So if you see me just working away, quiet, trying to figure something out, I'm just probably overthinking it. If you spot an error, if you're in chat, just let us know, and we'll have a conversation about it. So sit back, grab yourself a drink. I've got a soft drink today to keep myself hydrated. Right, so let's do, what did I say? Right, so first of all, we need, because the machines are going to need an internet access. So what we can do is I add a link. We'll just call this upstream. Will give us an upstream link on here to, that will get us upstream connectivity in a minute. Gonna need a couple of switches so that we don't have to keep bringing the routers up and down. So drop a couple of these in. So 2 on that. Link those onto G00, and we'll do G0 to G01 for there. Oh. And everything that comes, everything just plugged into this switch will just be on. Actually, we might as well do the DHCP on the switch rather than the server. No, this would just be we'll just do a standard layer 2. We'll put everything on the single VLAN on the switch. We'll do it that way. Okay, so yeah. And it looks all right. Let's just lock that for now. Start these up. Start working on those. I did download some images already, so I know I do have some images. We also need Eve NG. Custom own Linux images. That's what we want to do. We want to create our own custom ones, because I did notice that some of theirs were a bit out of date, and I wanted to make sure that we were using our own ones that were a bit more up to date and had all the security patches on. Change to the main window so you can see something a bit clearer. That's better. All right, so how are we going to get R1, R2, R3? Right, so lock that. Let's jump onto that router again. Okay, what I was looking for, first one is int G0/2. This is going to be our upstream link. Address will be DHCP because it's going to get it from upstream network, no shut. That should come up and get an IP address from the rest of the internal, from the physical network that it's connected to. So now it's got an internal address. We can use that as our NAT to, we'll NAT to that network, and then we'll send it out. But it can do an IP6 address as well, so we can assign an IP6 to it. Okay. This would be IP NAT outside, because we are going to NAT traffic to it. We also then need to do a NAT inside statement. Inside that interface and on that interface is what we're going to do is we're going to NAT traffic, any traffic that's coming in on these ones. We're going to NAT any traffic that's coming in on this interface, and we're going to use this as our fake internet access for everything else on the network. So we've done that and that. I'm also going to use the fake internet access to build the VM that we're going to use. So what else do we need? So we've got that interface. What else do we need? So access list, list 100. We will permit the two subnets, 192.168.50. The wildcard mask, so 0000255 any. Permit IP. Yep. We'll do the same for the other subnet, which is 51. We're not worried about natting. Okay, and then we do an IP NAT inside source list of 100 to interface with the same G0/2, and it'll be an overload exit. That should be enough to get that. And then we are running OSPF already between these routers. Don't think we get a default route. Yes, so we have got a default route from the DHCP that we've picked up on here. So what we need to do is, if we jump over to router 3, no IP route, we'll see, yes, we don't know anything about the default route. So what we would do is router, let's say 1, I think it was on the router OSPF 1, and we will go default information, originate. So what that should now do is we should now say, hey, this router has default to the rest to the upstream, and we're now going to advertise it. So now if we jump over here, we should see, yes, there we go. We've got an E2, an external route. So other routers that are in a neighbor relationship are now receiving the static route that the router 1 has received from the DHCP to get internet access. So what we'll do now is let's get one of these switches online. Figure them first, and then we'll put the VMs in and check that we have, or we can put one of the test nodes in, make sure we get DHCP connectivity, and then we can then move on to building the new VMs. So this is really just going to be acting as a dumb switch. We don't really need it to do anything else at the moment, so there's no point in us going overboard in configuration. Reset. configure. I don't think we configured the interface on G1, did we? 50.254. Yes, we did. Okay, we can use that as a test. So ping 1.1.1.1 source address would be G0/1. So that should, yeah, we're pinging the live real world internet right now from the virtual environment. Good. So now if we jump back onto the switch, technically, yeah, we don't have to do anything other than boot it up. That should be fine. What we do need DHCP to be running. So let's configure a DHCP services on there on G0/1. IP DHCP include address 192.168.50.254. The yes. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, and then we want an IP DHCP pool. We'll call it pool 1. Now the network is 192.168.50.0, 255.255.255.0, which is a /24. The default router will be 192.168.50.254, and we will give DNS 1.1.1, and we'll give DNS of 8.8.8.8. Should be enough to get DHCP on there. So exit mem. Okay. Jump down onto router 3. This knows about the default now, which is fine. Okay. We did put an IP address on there, so ping 192.168.51.254. That's the local interface address. Yep. This one should be able to ping the internet as well, so let's try that. Source G0/0. Yes, good. Okay, right. So now we just need to do IP DHCP configuration mode would help. IP DHCP exclude address 192.168.51 down here, isn't it? 51.254. IP DHCP full 1 network 192.168.1.0. Again, it's a /24. Default router is 192.168.1.4. DNS, we'll just use Cloudflare and Google. Enough of that. What we're going to need now is VM. We need to figure out how we create our own one. So we need to make a directory. Copy the ISO in, rename it as a CD-ROM. Yep. We're going to create a disk image. And we're going to drop it in the lab. We're going to start it up. Commit the installation to set the default image for further use. Okay. Then we've got to compress it. Okay, seems simple enough. Let's follow the steps. So let's start with creating a folder in here. What are we going to call this one? Look, this copy. Right, so we're going to SSH. Okay. We're going to want to make a directory. Add-ons. And we're going to call it Linux null 0 labs server. Okay. And we're going to change into that directory. Okay. Okay, ls. Okay, we're in there. Now we need to be the install image. Okay, so I have downloaded the Ubuntu server one, which is that one there. So what we'll do is we will SSH FileZilla before. Root. It's Eve ng. Username is root. 22. Connect. Okay, so we have that, and we create a folder in slash no. Add-ons Linux null 0 labs. That's the one we want, and we want the live server image. Copy that onto there. So we're going to copy it onto there, and then we're going to rename it to be CD-ROM. And then from the Eve CLI, go to the directory, and then we're going to create. Okay, so whilst that's copying over, we could do this bit. So we're going to create a hard disk. Okay, need that. Over to here. We're in the folder. We want to create a hard drive. Now we have the CD image and the hard drive. That's still copying. And when it's done, we are going to rename it cd-rom.iso. Copy. Like it's still doing it. Done. Okay. Then we're going to move Ubuntu to cd-rom.iso. So now ls-o. Okay, so now we have CD-ROM and we have our hard drive. That's what it wanted us to do. So now it says to create a new lab. Add a new lab. Do we have to do it in a new lab? Ooh, okay. what we might have to do then is we'll have to come back to this after we've done it. So if we stop all of these, close this, create a new lab, we'll call it building. Now we'll add this Linux node. Null 0 lab server 1. Linux, 4 gig of RAM, 2 CPUs, that sounds fine. Connect. Management net. We'll start it up. Back to it. Okay, there we go. So now we're gonna install it. What does it want us to do? So we can then basically now just do the install to the point of where it wants to reboot, and then we remove the CD-ROM drive. Okay, so now this is the bit where I need to make sure I've got everything that I need on here. So, because I don't just want to use this for one thing, so we're going to need an Apache web server on there because we might want to host like a web page. We're going to need Samba on there because we might want to do some testing to file shares. We're going to want Radius. We're going to want iPerf. What else would we need? Sure, there's going to be some other things that we'll need. Done. What else? Anybody else in chat know what we would need? What you can think of? I'm sure there's something that we would need or require to use for future purposes. Is it live? Oh yeah, it's live. Okay, seems to be working. Right. Use the entire hard disk. One. Yep. Right, name. That's the login name, isn't it? I don't think we can use admin. We can't use root. So null 0 labs. Server will just be, server name will be server. Username will be null 0 labs. Password will be test 123. Test 123. Don't want that. We do want to install SSH. Don't want to import any keys at the moment. Done. Nothing else on here that we want. Done. All right, let that install. Once that's installed, right, I made a list of some things that I wanted on the server, just to make sure I didn't forget. So we want Apache, Samba, we do need NetTools, Radius 3. I want to put a self-signed certificate on there. What else could we or would we need in labs in the future? I want to make sure I don't have to rebuild this box for a while. I want it to be one we're always going to be able to use. What I also want to create on the disk as well is a file to replace the net plan, because by default it'll be DHCP. So unless we set up DHCP servers all the time, we'll have to go in and change that net plan file. So I'm gonna want to be able to just change it. Right, so this is now we're at the reboot stage. So bit where we delete the CD-ROM drive, customize it as you like, remove the CD-ROM drive from folder, and we reboot. So we are going to need that. I don't know if we have to do it now. Let's just reboot. On mount, please remove the installation media and then press enter. So let's paste, remove the CD-ROM. Yep, now we've just got the hard drive in there. Right, we've booted up. Booted. So we said null 0 labs. First 1, 2, 3. We're in. Now we should be able to just do the same as how we normally would for any other Linux install. Okay, good. Building. Should we add like music and that to the background when we're doing things like this in a live stream, or not? What do you think? Let's reboot that just to be. That's pretty quick, isn't it? Look at that. That's a pretty quick machine. Null 0 labs. Test 1, 2, 3. We're in. We should now be fully up to date. The following has been deferred due to phasing. Okay, fine. Right, so let's start with some basic tools. ARP. Need NetTools, yes. Apt install net-tools. Good. Perfect. Traceroot's not in there. Why do they not install Traceroot anymore? So, what's this? As you apt install as your iNet Traceroot or Traceroot version, the iNet utils Traceroot needs to be a newer version. So now if I do Traceroot, yep, that's working. And let's look up. That's there. Dig. Yeah, that's there. So okay, so we've got that's not there, so we do need that. Now what we'll be able to do, yeah, so now what we'll be able to do is when we have two of these in the lab, we'll be able to run speed tests between them. And then I do have another Linux box that I can use to cause disruption on the line, and then we'll be able to use it to be able to see how you can get disruption and packet loss and stuff like that. So we've got telnet is there. Apache. Apache 2 now, isn't it? So we want Apache 2. Samba. That we can create file shares and stuff like that. Radius. Radius, or is it Radius 3? Oh, it's not there. Where's Radius then? Do I have to put a Ubuntu server install Radius 3? What is it? Do I have to put a package in, or is it? Oh, free Radius, that's why. Okay. Calling it by the wrong name. Okay, so as you do apt install free Radius. That's going to install common config utils. Okay, that's everything we need there for that. We put iPref, Apache, Samba, NetTools, Radius. Need a what else? X11. Was it Xorg? Xorg. And I think Ubuntu installs Snap Firefox. So I'll uninstall that. Uninstall Snap Firefox. Do snap remove Firefox. It's not installed. Good. Apt install Firefox. Handy to have in case we want to do use this to do management access to servers or firewalls that require a web interface. We can start X and then spin up Firefox on top. What's this doing? Anything else that we can think of? Because that's the thing, I bet there'll be something. I'll go to do something and we'll missed something that we could have used or installed. Firefox. Window in. What else? What else? Might need LDAP, but I don't really want to install it because I don't want it in starting up. We could always install it on the machine temporarily when we need it. Is this installing as snap? Why is it installing it as a snap for? Can't you force that to install? Yes, that's taking some time. Speed test tool. Speed test. BP top, Python. Come on, what are you doing? See checking for connectivity with Snap Store. See why? We don't want Snap. Just install it as a package. I don't know. Reboot. Reboot. Is there a way to install Firefox directly? To install. Because I don't want. I don't want to snap. I did that and it started installing a snap. Don't want a snap. I want a standard one. How do we install the standard one, not the snap? Yeah, see, look, it installed it as a snap. Didn't ask for it to be installed as a snap. Did that. Now it's removed it. So now it should do. What about if we remove snap? Can you remove snap or can you not remove snap? Install Firefox. Don't install. Because I rebooted, didn't I? See, it's doing it again from Snap. Why? Force you to install a Snap version. Okay, there we go. We have Firefox. I want this nonsense keep coming up every time, so let's just okay. Quit. Quit. It. Okay, so we can start X, we can start Firefox. We need to do a self-signed certificate. I did look up how to do that. I remember. I did want to put a self-signed on there, and we want to put a Apache self-signed. Yeah, that looks about right. Think about over the top. Snake oil certificate. Yeah, I saw a guide earlier. It was much easier. It was like 3 steps. Actually 2. Right. Self-signed certificate. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. There was nothing about doing that nonsense though. It was just, we did this enable something certificate thing and that was it. It was done. I know. I did it on... No, because that would be gone because it got deleted. That was the problem. Or can you just use Ubuntu Apache 2 enable SSL. Ah, there it is. No, don't want to do that. But it was that. It was that sudo a2 enable mod. That's what we had to do. Okay, so this is what we want. This is what we want. Right. So, got that. We want to put a self-signed certificate on there next. So we need to do this. Okay, so that's the bit of course. So sudo a2 in mod SSL. Okay, so then that's correct because that's now going to start the SSL stuff. And then we want to do sudo open SSL. We require an X509 certificate with nodes, days. We want 360, 3,000 days. Be long enough. New key 2048. We want to key out and the certificate out. So dash key out etc SSL private, or just Apache 2 self API self signed dot key dash out slash etc slash SSL private key self signed dot CRT. Is that everything? Yep. That will be a GB. Yep. For the server. Okay, so at least there's one there. It's going to get a certificate error for the server name and stuff like that, but at least we know there's one available. No, don't need to worry about that. Actually do nano slash etc tc slash apache 2 slash sites available default SSL. I'm going to replace this now with etc slash, it was private apache self signed crt apache hyphen self signed dot key. Do system control restart. PAE. Okay, let's do a X and Firefox. Local host. So local host. Okay, yes, we have a default web page. We have one under do. Nope. SSL received a record that exceeded the maximum possible length. Oh, okay. So you really can't. Okay, so we're gonna have to change that then. We learned something new. Okay, so let's change it. So if we use the same name, we can overwrite it. So we'll do that. GB. Locality. No, worry about that. Company name is Null Zero Labs. Yeah. You can give it a common name. GB. Oh, Labs. Common name, we just call it server. That should be it. Gone into the same place. So if we restart it and have a check now. Firefox. Local host. Good. Unencrypted one. Still failed. I think I've set that up right. Earlier it was working. Done that though, haven't I? It should be enabled. Site default SSL. Access denied. Okay, start it. Config test. You do control config. So it's fully vulnerable. Fine. Or is it cached it? Yes, there we go. Potential security risk. Steps right there. It's self-signed. Okay. More information. Localhost self-signed, verified by null zero labs. Good. That's what we want. Okay, so we've got a web server that is operating in both modes. We also needed, where's my VS Code? I created a simple login form. Need that as well. Where is that page served from? Nano/etc. Sites enabled is default SSL and blah blah. Default SSL, where is it? So from that's from var www.html. So cd/var/www.html. Okay, so nano login.html was doc. I'll type it in because I can't copy and paste into a that ends with that. Out, head, the title, login page, title, and we want a head, yep. And we wanted the body, BODY, body opening tag. We didn't have a body closing tag. Here we put 2. Oh, login form. 2. Label 4. Form. Form method equals post action equals okay. Right, we're going to probably have to put a PHP bit in. Label. Actually, I wonder if I can SSH directly into this box, seeing as it's got a IP, and then I don't have to type this in word for word. So Control X, no, IPADD. No, it's got one on my, so it's got 192.168.201. SSH, null, 0, labs at 192.168.1. Test. Okay. Perfect, that's what we want. So we can minimize that one out of the way for the time being. So so CDs fast www HTML sudo nano login dot HTML test. Wait, I wanted was that. See that? Paste that in. Perfect. X. X. Save it. Now, if I go same address, 192.168.68.201. Yeah. If I went /login.html, we see it. Good. So test. Okay. And we wanted a PHP file. So need same, but we want to called save underscore p. X. Okay. What do I need to install PHP wise? Don't even have it. PHP-m. No, do apt install PHP PHP-mb string and PHP open self testing. I have to bond that into Apache. Did save them. Unless. Aha. Oh. Where did it save the file then? Saving it. Put contents in credentials.txt. Where? I wonder if you've got to make it. I have to make one, don't I? ls-l. Because they were saved. Everyone's not saving them locally. double check the permissions of that. It was chr/www, wasn't it? No. No. Went by root. All known by root. ch mod 40. There we go. Username test, password test. Perfect. So that's what we can use. Just prove that that's what somebody entered in. And then we'll also be sniffing it on the wire. So we'll then be able to compare what the username was sent and what the thing was sent. Let's just check that it works under the HTTPS version. Yeah, okay. We know it's a self-signed, which is fine. We want to go to login.html. Go. Test. Your password. See, it got sent. Now if we look in the file again. There we go. So we've got the two users in there. Okay, cool. So that's working for that part of the demo. Anything else we needed? So we've done free radius, we've done IPF, we've done Apache, we've done NetTools, we've done Samba. HTOP is installed, that'll be enough. Anything else? Trace path, trace route. Ping. Trace route ping. And let's look up. H, all of those are there. Free radius is installed. Anything else? We could install an FTP server. Yeah. Could install an FTP server on there. Are using Ubuntu on. You could actually do a DNS server on there as well. That might be useful. But then it might slow down boot up when it hasn't got no, just a simple FTP. Just do a simple FTP server on there. That way as well, we can then show the insecurity of FTP as well. So VSFTP. There's quite a lot that has to go into setting up one of these machines, you know. We're looking for right enable. Yes. Yes. Enable. Huh? What's that there? Right, that's the wrong one. I'll do that. We want right enabled. Once got ch root the local user. Yes. Ch root local list. Yes. We want ch. We're gonna have to add that. Allow. Right. List file. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Now that. And add to the last line. Local root equals public HTML. Local underscore root equals public or HTML. Or X. Sudo nano. Start again. Allow. Writable is enabled. Oop. Ch root underscore local users. Yes. Yes. Wow. Writable. Root. Yes. Now that. And finally we add local underscore root equals public or HTML. X. Yes. Yeah. 8.201. Couldn't read. Oh. Right, we're going to add the user to. There's no tabs. User X. Yes. Now restart that. Now let's try and connect. There we go. Now connected. Create a new file. Test. Yep, we can create the file. Delete. Yes. Perfect. And the server has FTP. It has a self-signed certificate on Apache. It has a dummy login portal. It has SSH. It has Radius 3. It has NetTools. It has Samba. It has speed test. And that should pretty much cover everything for the server. The netplan file. I want to make one where we can make the changes. So kits to nano slash netplan. There's one already in there. Where it says DHCP true, what I want to do is I want to see if I can add these in and then just mask them off. That you would normally set to false, and then underneath that would then set root to colon default via 1.254. And obviously we're going to want to be able to put name servers. This is at 1. That should be enough. So then technically, there should be no error in the file. So if we go like that, comment those out so they're there ready, so we don't have to keep remembering. All we'll have to do is just change that DHCP to false. Then addresses route to the default gateway and a DNS server. Well, actually, go into that. So all we have to do is put that in square brackets. We can go at that, comma 8.8.8.8. That should be enough to give us network connectivity. Got X sudo net plan apply. No errors. That stayed in place. Perfect. Anything else for the server? That should be it. So we've got web interface for management. We can do a management web interface. Got X11 and Firefox. So we've got iPerf, Apache, Samba, NetTools, Radius 3. We can SSH into it. We've got the dummy login portal. We've got Apache with a self-signed certificate, and it can serve pages on encrypted and unencrypted. We've got an FTP server that we could change the configuration on if we need to do secure. We've got X11, we've got Firefox, and then we've got all the standard things like traceroute, ARP. I think that's everything that we need for the server. I don't think we're going to need anything else. Anything else here we could think of adding? NTP? No. Because it could stop on startup. Same with DNS. It could stop. I don't really, we can do DNS and we can do DHCP from the routers anyway. We've already got Samba on there for doing file shares. Actually, we might as well just set that up so that it's done. Onto Samba. So at least we'll just have a standard Samba share on there as well. We might as well just get it done. So at least it's then got the ability to do a file share via Samba, FTP, and it's got all of the other things. So yeah, we'll just install it. We've already installed it. So what does it want us to do? Well, we can go straight to the setting up. Under the home thing, we'll make a Samba share. So cd/home 0 labs, and we create a Samba. Yeah. Yeah. It. Config file. Goes down to here. We did call it Samba Share. The username was /home/null0labs/Samba Share. Read only no. Browsable. Yes. X. Yes. Done that. The username. Right. Labs. Yes. Wait. System roll. Restart. Okay. On that. 201 slash, what do we call it? Samba Share, wasn't it? Samba, yeah. Username was null0labs. We set the password as test13. Write a test file. There it is. We delete it. Oh, yes, again. Cool. And it removed it. Perfect. Right. So I think we're finished with our server. We should now be able to commit it. So we have got iPref, Apache, Samba, NetTools, Radius, SSH, dummy login portal, and we've got the Samba Share set up. So we should have everything we now need for this box. So we will do one last reboot on it. Reboot. Right. Cool. We are in. Should all be working. Haven't configured anything else. So yeah, we are good. Right. So now what do we do? So now we've finished with that. We've fully updated it. Now we need to commit it. Further use. So in the evalab bar, we need to get the UUID. We're going to find it and we're going to commit it. Okay. So lab details. This. Okay. We need to jump into here. cd/opt unit lab temp 0. Paste in the lab. Looking for a number. There it is. And then we are going to use this command to commit it. Okay, so that's now committing. Now we can compress it and make it smaller. Damn, how long have we been? 1 hour, 41 minutes. Core dumped. What does that mean? Oh. Maybe I meant to stop it. Maybe I meant to stop it and then I meant to commit it. Hope that hasn't broken it. After I've just spent so long bloody doing it. Image committed. Okay, so the image is now committed. So now we're going to go to our directory and we are going to create a compressed version by the looks of it. So cd/opt/unitlab/addons/worms/linux L0 server. Doing this, so now we want to sparsify, commit, and compress. Paste. Once that's compressed, we are then going to overwrite the original file with the compressed version. We can then move that node into the lab, and then we've got to build the desktop version of Ubuntu. We then need to build the desktop Ubuntu image. And again, make sure it's not missing things like trace route. I want to put Edge on there as well. I want a Chrome-based browser as well, just in case some of the management interfaces don't like the Firefox version. Once that's compressed, blah, blah, so then we'll need this command to overwrite it. And then suppose we then delete the lab and we then start working on the next one. This is a lot of work just to get a box that I can use later for testing too. But at least then, once I go to record the video, everything will be ready in the lab. We'll have a machine, a server that we know that we can put a test file on and watch what happens when another client on the network attempts to copy that file, or if we have one of the clients on the network attempting to FTP a file to the FTP server, we can then sit on the network and capture that process of when that user's logging into the FTP, sending the file or downloading a file. And then we can go through things like what we can see at the network level by capturing those packets. So it's good to have those. And the same like with the login page, we'll be able to show the difference between when the done that. when the user goes to the login page and they go to just the HTTP version, we will then be able to see what we can see on the network level, and then present that. And then when they go to the encrypted version of the website, like the HTTPS version of the website, we'll then be able to draw a comparison and show you the differences. So that's the purpose of that image. Right, so now if I stop this, that is stopped. Now if I delete this, and I take him, I go node, Linux. What I want is this one. We will now test it. As if it was a brand new device. Start that up. Everything all works. Let's boot it quick. Null 0 labs. Test 1 2 3. On ifconfig commands there, good. So yeah, it's got the same IP. Start X Firefox. Good. So this image is done and working. So next we will begin working on the client image. That stopped. Delete that node. Close. We'll delete this lab. Another client build. Okay. Now we're back to the top, because again we're going to need to create a new directory. We will call this make dir Linux dash null 0 labs dash client. Okay, good. Right, so now we're going to FTP create the thing. We're going to need another disk in disk size, so copy. Create a disk. All right, we're going to want the Ubuntu image. Desktop. Now we upload client version, and we begin the process again of creating up-to-date Linux desktop client. And then we'll commit it, and then we will literally have our two functional images. So once we copy that over, we're going to rename that CD-ROM. We're then going to dump it on the desktop. We're going to boot it up, set it up how we want it, and then go from there. God damn, it's hot today. Not as hot as yesterday, but it's still pretty hot. Pretty hot, I'll give it that. But this has been a good stream test. Also, this is not just a case of doing a stream. It's also a test of whether or not I've configured it properly. I'm kind of doing two tests at once here. It's an opportunity for me to show you what goes on in the background to get a lab operational, functioning. Also a chance to test that things like audio and lighting and streaming equipment is functioning as well whilst doing uploads, downloads. Yeah, I'll give you this. It's amazing what you can do on a MacBook Air these days. For sure. 95, 96, 97. Good, file is transferred. Right, so now we are going to move Ubuntu to cd-rom.iso. Okay, now I think we're ready to begin process again. So node Linux. We want a null zero labs client. What I'll do is I will set the host name on this one to desktop. That way we'll know the difference, although it shouldn't really matter because we're going to see difference anyway, because this one's going to boot to a desktop environment. So then what do we need on the desktop? So the same thing again on the desktop. We're going to need, we're not going to need any of the server stuff, but we're going to need to make sure we've got an FTP client. FTP client. So yeah, FTP client. We need iPath again because we want to use it as a point to run speed tests to the server version. NetTools again. Dig, DNS lookup, and a modern browser. And hopefully that should be enough for the desktop. Okay, that doesn't appear to have done anything. Or is it just being super slow? No, stop that. Try the safe graphics. Maybe that's what that was. Okay, that looks better. Hopefully this one shouldn't take as long because we don't have too much to install into this one. We just need to make sure it gets up to date. Has those few utilities that we require. And that's it. Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Oh yeah, this one's got the new installer, hasn't it? Next. UK keyboard. UK Mac keyboard, but hey, using a wired connection. And then update. I did just download this image, so it's surprising that I need to update the installer. You would have assumed that the installer would be nice. I like this. Ooh. Actually, maybe if I leave it on a US keyboard, then that would match. Yeah. But then that doesn't know, so that'll be UK. Interactive install. Default selection should be fine. Don't need any NVIDIA. We're not going to be watching videos, so we don't need any of that. We just need desktop. Install from scratch. Right, your name will be Null 0 and Labs. This will be just desktop. Password again will be test 1 2 3. I know. Test 1 2 3. United Kingdom. Install. Right. Yeah. Text editor. Yep, we will definitely want that. Doesn't have an FTP client installed, so maybe we'll just install FileZilla. FileZilla, NetTools, Edge, and that should be enough. And at least it'll be up to date as well. So we'll have our desktop and our server nodes. We could also install Wireshark on this as well. So at least then the client has got Wireshark, so we can then do a capture within the virtual environment as well. So not only can we capture it at the lab level, we can then also capture within the client. So what the client side's seeing, and then that might be handy as well for capturing any broadcasts it might be receiving from other nodes on a switch or anything like that. So yeah, so we will do that. We'll install that as well. And that should cover all of the tools that we will need. I mean, you can play a lot more games now on Linux now. I actually do quite like this. This looks really nice. But that's the thing. It's like, how many games can you really play on Linux? It's like, it would be so good if you could just literally go sod it. You know, I don't want to install Windows. I'm going to install Ubuntu desktop, and I'm going to install Steam, and know that every game that I've got in my library would work and play the same way how it would us on Windows. That would be fantastic. Then I think everybody would just go, yeah, don't need to pay for a Windows license. I'll just use this. I bought a new mouse today as well, this Logitech one right here. It's very nice actually. It's got this this function that I didn't know anything about until I've just used it. But on this little wing bit here, it's also a button. So when you're moving it around, you can press down with your thumb, and I can now use it to do that. So I can sort of display all my windows just by pushing my thumb down slightly and not having to like do an alt tab or touch the keyboard or the mouse pad down here and flick up. I can just press with one side of my thumb and I can switch between all the windows I want to look at. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. Right, so what are we up to on our notes page? So on the lab itself, we did set up NAT and internet connectivity on R1 so that we could then share some real world physical connectivity from the physical network into the virtual lab and allow those two subnets to get internet access. We did a default originate so that we shared the default route to all the other routers in the OSPF. They know how to reach the internet. So I think the lab side is done. It's now just a case of putting these clients in place. So yeah, so once this is done, I think we're ready just to put those in, check that they're booting up and that they're reachable to the internet and they can reach each other. And then I think we're then ready to well, I'm then ready to deal with recording the video that I want to make. And then I might go and like walk the dog or something like that. Right, so remove the CD-ROM, I press enter. That should now boot Ubuntu. Test 1, 2, 3. That to be a super secure password. Don't obviously use test 1, 2, 3 for anything that you're setting up ever. Don't use that. Don't do it. Skip for now. No, don't share any data. Open the App Center, thank you. Right. Open Firefox first of all and deal with all of its nonsense. Not interested. Go away. Go away. Right, Edge. Do the browser first. Edge. Edge. Linux. RPM. No, not RPM. DBD. The Debian. So we want that one. Cool. I love how they try to get it's a potentially unsafe package. Yeah, it's a web browser for Christ's sake. Alright, so Firefox, pull back on, check that. Install this, and we'll do updates. Edge. No doubt this will want me to go through a billion steps just to get to the browser page. Hi. Yeah. No, we don't want to help you improve anything. focused. Don't need to see any more of your junk. Don't want to sign in. Reject all. All right, let's tidy this up. Settings. Just want you to take us to a blank page whenever we open it. So start. Open the new, when Edge starts, open the new tab page. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, what's on the new tab page? Oof, this is what we don't want. Off. Fine. Quick links off. So promoted links. Can't turn that off. Not fussed about the weather. No, they don't let you turn it off. I wonder if I go one row, then I can turn it off. Then I can turn that off. Why doesn't you just be able to turn that off in one go? That should be good. Just want a nice plain page like that whenever I open it. Right. Are you going to do that when I open it now? Let's test. So that Edge. Good. Needs to be able to get to my things terminal. Yes, you do. Apt. Update. And then we just need some tools. Then we just need some tools. Apps. Oh. Updates. I wanted to do it from the command line. Oh, is this all that's installed? So what have we got? That's pretty minimum. Just some basic utilities, terminal, calculator, text editor. When you do the minimal install, they really do a minimal install. Okay. They really did mean a minimal install, didn't they? It is updating the kernel. No point in me running that now because it's don't restart now. Then we're going to have to do the similar process to what we did before where we commit it. So test 3. Update all. We just did all the updates. Snap again, yet again. Why? Why does it have to be snaps? Oops. Gonna update. And we'll just do a double check from the command line, make sure everything's updated. And then we'll do that. I think it's only 3. All right, that's saying that we are fully up to date. We'll check that now. Test 1, 2, 3. It says there's one upgradable. And that's being held back from driver phasing. So that's the same as what we had on the other one. So right, so we're good. SUDO, apt, net, tools. Help if you could spell. Oh. That'd actually help if you could type. So net tools, let's just double check. So trace. Oh yeah, that's right. So sudo apt or what was it? inet utils, wasn't it? That's it. Utils. Traceroute. Okay. Now if I do a traceroute. Yep, good. Apt. Op. Op tables. Put it on the other one. Op thing as well. Never mind. Never mind. There's always something. Store file. That. Oh, it's not free as well. Cool. Okay. So I just installed. Should be fine. But if we need to, we can always update it onto the other one. So we got FTP client. We can do Samba client stuff from here by default. We've got NetTools, we've got Edge. That should be enough. Yep, that should be everything that we need. Okay. Browser, FTP client, SFTP client, that does the lot under FileZilla. Got terminal. We've got all the ping tools that we need. Wireshark. Wireshark. Yes. I think I've got to add the user to the wheel group. On. When you do the install, you need to add user to group. User group is it? Then you have to log out, log back in to make sure that's working. You do, yes. add it to the group. Sudo user mod -a -g Wireshark. And it should be null 0. That's exit. Log out, log back in. Out. Back in. Test. Shark. I'm still not seeing network interface. Yeah, why am I not seeing? I did the privileges. Good point. I wonder if I try running that as sudo sudo Wireshark. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's a permissions thing. But okay, we're seeing it. Good. Either way, let's run it as sudo. Right, okay, so now we power it off. Then need to go and get our lab files. Go and find it. Stopped. Yep. Grab that. We then need to find cd/opt/unitlab/test.temp0. That. Find that. ls. There it is. That. And then I'm going to compress it, and then it's ready for use in the lab. And all I'm going to do there is I'm going to wire them both up. I'm going to make sure that they can get a DHCP address, and then that should pretty much be that lab built, ready to go. So that's been a long session just to get that done. So I'm going to go and feed the dog, because the dog is now sitting there to the side of me, staring at me. And hey, it's my dinner time. I think it's time that I give him some dinner and take him for a walk. And then I'll come back and I'll finish up doing the rest of the lab off stream.
and then you'll see the video of it in use at a later date. So look out for that video when it comes out. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you later.